Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Because without you guys, I wouldn't be here talking to Matt. How are you doing tonight, Matt? You're the first one in tonight. Extreme Archery USA Redskins. Must be a new fan. Story Landing. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Don't you have North Korea to take care of? Cool Boys. Backwater Media. Dallas Cowboys 559, Cyberlink, Blog, Thomas, Jalen Remo, JC Love, Ricardo, Rudy, Coolboy05, McFarland, Taylor, Dennis, Robert, Ernie, Polo, Cold Milk. Man, I love some cold milk, especially with a little rum and Kahlua in there. Lance Davis, Kevin, Boomer, Pistol Pete, Jay Mooney, Junior Muth, Tina, Joseph, Marcelo, Massive G, Justin, Average Joe, Dwayne, Daniel. We know we got Daniel in here, that hardcore Giant fan. Byron, Red Eye, Blog Thomas, John Taylor, Sir Cooks. Wow, we got a lot of people that have jumped in here immediately as soon as the thing comes on. Guys, I want to thank you guys so much for being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. We're growing like crazy, and it's thanks to each and every one of you guys. Shout out to every single one of you, not only here in the United States, but all across the world. And thoughts and prayers for everybody in the Caribbean. We have a bunch of fans that are, in Puerto Rico and the Caribbean and stuff. Thoughts to all of you guys. If you can help out, please, by all means, help out your fellow man. Guys, it is week number 3 in the NFL. Can you believe that? As long as the offseason was, the season is literally flying by. Week 3, just like that. We had actually a decent game for once on a Thursday night, the Rams and 49ers, letting us know that it may not be a cakewalk to go over the Rams. And Todd Gurley basically says he wants to kick the Cowboys' ass. But we'll deal with them after Monday night because it's been one hell of a week. I mean, one hell of a week for our Dallas Cowboys, and not in a good way. And I'm hoping that they take it out on the Arizona Cardinals. We have had from trade Des Bryant, fire Jason Garrett, Zeke Elliott's a quitter, the offensive line stinks, we have no defensive backfield. I mean, we have heard it all, and it's been a field day for the talking heads. But the one that kills me is everybody who figures that Des Bryant is done. That Des Bryant is no longer elite wide receiver, no longer maybe even a top 10, maybe not even a number 1 receiver anymore. Buster! Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I got a little bit of a cold. Guys, seriously, we played 2 really great defenses. When you look at playing against the lead, now, it wasn't a banner day by any stretch of the imagination for anybody in the Dallas Cowboys, but Dez did get 7 passes for 56 yards. When you look at that game, we couldn't do jack. We couldn't tackle. We couldn't run the ball. Couldn't throw the ball. Couldn't keep from having penalties. Couldn't coach. Couldn't do jack. But to single out Des Bryant and say that he's done after 2 games, I don't think so. Des is healthy. But the problem with our offense right now is we're not doing what we did last year that worked. We're pressing and trying to force the ball to Des Bryant instead of letting it be natural. We have to do what we did last year, and that is distribute the ball equally. We got to get the running game going, which opens up play action, because when you can only run 9 times for 8 yards, play action ain't going to work. You ain't fooling nobody. But we've got to be able to start hitting the holes again, get Zeke going, and that will open up play action. And once you start doing some play action, rolling Dak Prescott out, hitting a Cole Beasley in the slot, or hitting Jason Witten a few times, it starts to loosen up the defense. It starts loosening it up more for Des Bryant to go deep. And if you can hit Des Bryant deep a couple times, it really loosens up and opens up the running game. It's an all-encompassing offense. It's a ball control offense. But you got to have the running game. And I don't know if it was the altitude, because I know I saw DeMarcus Lawrence as well as everybody out there was smelling salts. So it was definitely having an effect there. And I think also, too, on our offense, that Ron Leary gave him the playbook. Without a doubt, Denver's defense knew where everything was coming from. You could see them beating our players to the point of attack because they knew where it was going. I mean, it's football. If Jason Garrett was dumb enough not to change up the calls and change the looks, knowing that you have a player who was instrumental in you winning last year, now on the other side, if you think that he wasn't going to go ahead and say, hey, it's 30 gut up the middle here coming, and I can tell you what the calls are. I can tell you which way they're going to lean to know exactly where the ball's going. Because that's, to me, exactly what happened there. They knew what was coming for them. So that is what it is. Now, some earlier news that happened just basically a few hours ago. Hadn't had a chance to really talk about it much. But the NFL, who has a hard on to suspend Zeke Elliott, is not giving up. The Fifth Court of Appeals in New Orleans is still hearing their appeal of the restraining order that Zeke Elliott has, which was a stay against the NFL's ruling. God. On that note, we're going to get Joe Boo a refill. If you think, if you've got that one straight. But here's the deal. Fifth Court of Appeals is going to hear that on October 2nd and decide on whether or not they will overturn the temporary restraining order from the court in Texas. I hope I got that straight. And from what I hear or what I understand is that's going to be a real uphill battle for the NFL. It's maybe more likely semantics than anything else, but the chances are not very good that they'll overturn it. That more than likely it will stay with the court that is there. Wasn't it Doug Free? Laugh out loud. Doug Free is retired. Ron Leary went to Denver, actually got a concussion, and was good enough to play last week, but must have given up the playbook before having the concussion, I would say. So you still have Zeke dealing with all that. And I still believe that Zeke Elliott, with all the stuff that's gone on with the whole Boobygate, with this whole thing stretching out now, going on a year and a half, with, you're suspended, you're not suspended, and, so on, that's a lot to weigh on anybody. I mean, I know he's a football player, he's a tough guy and stuff, but God, you got to feel like a rag doll in the wind, especially if you know inside, listen, I didn't do this. I don't know why they're going after me for this. I didn't do it. I know I would go crazy. Rico, well, YK, thanks for joining in tonight. YK me. Rico Gathers, he's supposedly still having concussion symptoms, and concussions are no joke. The NFL has really got to look hard and long at like the Zero-G helmet. There's a helmet I did a video about, which is basically it's a soft helmet. It's got like a million fingers inside of it, and it's soft. So when you get hit with it, it literally acts like a bumper and absorbs the hit. You don't get the typical, when helmets hit, because they're soft. You don't get that, but they absorb the blow and the impact. It came out today that Aaron Hernandez had advanced CTE. Now, we can't say that CTE was the reason why he possibly killed those people, but it's definitely one of those things that if you're a current player right now, you stop and say, I've been feeling a little down and feeling a little bit not like myself. I've been having some headaches. Do I have CTE? Will that become me? You're going to have parents that are already saying, I don't want you playing football. The Zero-G helmet There's about 70 players right now that are wearing them, and they're custom fit. They're about 4 times as much as a typical helmet. So the problem with this is, when you start talking about little league, colleges, and all that, it's a bigger expense. You're talking about $1,600 for one of these helmets versus $400 for a regular one. But what is football worth? When you think about the Dallas Cowboys being worth $4 billion, and I'm trying to remember what college that was, they were talking about the football program's worth $1.5 billion. That helmet sounds kind of like a bargain to protect your livelihood. Mr. ESPN, what's up, man? I'm just here living the dream with you guys, all my friends, having a great time on Friday night, talking about the thing that I love the most, the thing that I want to protect and make sure is there, because I want you guys to think about football. Imagine if there was no football. It'd be a hell of a void in my life. I know that. I know how hard it is just being around in the off season. What if football became no more? Where would we be? Because football goes beyond the play in the field. Football is ingrained in our social fabric. And as bad as some of the things that happen, we know the NFL has screwed our Cowboys a few times between the catch, no catch, and other plays, other ways and things. But football also does a whole lot of good stuff in the community. And actually, I've got something that I'm going to be sharing with you guys over the next few days that I'm really proud to be part of, between the NFL and United Way. And I'm hoping that you guys will help me out with it, because it's going to be really, really cool. But football, it's a great sport. But like anything else, it's not perfect. How you doing tonight, Anthony? I am great tonight. Joshua, Cold Milk 72, Cowboys Abroad. Well, definitely Cowboys Abroad. You just hit the nail on the head. It's just like anything else. When high def TVs came in, my first one I bought was like $2,500. Now you can buy them for $200-$300 for a 50-inch. So you're right. The price will come down. And what kind of rum I'm drinking? Actually, I drink a couple of different kinds. Okay, it just depends on the mood here. And when it gets really rough, I get some bootleg rum. But the Ron Zappa is my favorite rum. But also this one right here, the Zaya, which is a Guatemalan rum, is actually a really good one too. It's a good sipping rum that doesn't burn a whole lot. Got a great flavor. It's aged in oak barrels and all that. It's really good. But, Bacardi Oak Barrel, that's another good one. I definitely like dark rums because they age it in the barrels and it smooths it out. Well, Johnny, I'm all of you guys, homie. So Switzer can have a chance. Well, Switzer, they're working him into it. They're doing him punt returns and stuff. They're going to bring him in there slowly. You got to remember, he's another one of those guys that we had that ended up having hamstring issues. And that has been the bugaboo for this team, it seems like, for years, that we are forever having guys with hamstring issues. You look at Miles Austin, how long we dealt with him having them. Unfortunately, Wuze is still dealing with his. More than likely, he's going to be out this week. Another blow to our defensive secondary. Skandrick's going to play, but remember, he's got a broken hand. What's Joe be sipping on, Mark? Of course, the good old rum over here, the Zaya rum. But we have some real problems in our secondary because of the hamstring issues. These guys haven't been able to play and practice as much as we'd like, and it leaves us a little shorthanded. Anthony Brown actually graded out, I believe, as actually the 4th best cornerback last week, believe it or not. He's actually playing really, really well. But again, we're still kind of shorthanded. The cure for our Dallas Cowboys, the true way we're going to be able to help our secondary, is going to be the pass rush. DeMarcus Lawrence so far has been having a fantastic season. He was tied for first till the NFL took half a sack away from him, but he still has 3.5 sacks. He is in a contract year, but he's basically said, I want to be a lifelong Cowboy. Now, that sounds great, but we know how Jerry Jones gets to be with being a lifelong Cowboy and signing a big fat contract. But Either way, he keeps up what he's doing, he's going to get paid. And I'm hoping, praying that he's going to be our war daddy. Thus far, we're actually doing pretty well as far as sacks go. We've got 5 on the season. And when you consider that we only had 36 last year, which was better than the year before where we only had 29, that bodes well for our team. That puts us on pace to get 40 at least. Now, the key for this week, I haven't had a chance to do this video yet. The key for this week, like I said, is the pass rush. We need to get to Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer is like 2 different quarterbacks between pressure and no pressure. You don't pressure him, he's really pretty good, even at his advanced age. You get pressure on him, he becomes Eli Manning number 2. He's a turnover machine and makes a lot of mistakes. He's not mobile. He's not going to move around. He's pretty much a stationary target. So basically, you can pin your ears back and go to a point. Now, the problem with Dallas's pass rush last week, they actually had a good pass rush. The problem was they did not have discipline in their rushes. They were so worried about getting upfield, they got outside a lot, but nobody was covering the middle. And that's key. You have to maintain your lane so the quarterback does not have a spot to see through and or run through. And if you start collapsing that pocket, that quarterback's going to start getting antsy because he's going to feel those walls closing in on him. If you watched the Giant game last week, you'll notice that Eli Manning basically jumped to the ground more times than not. When he started feeling pressure, you could see the phantom tackles on him easily because he just does not want to get hit. He's gun shy. Well, that's Carson Palmer. If we can get a rush on him, he's going to go down easily. You don't have to hit him real hard. Just close the pocket around him and make him feel that he's about to lose it. How you doing tonight? How about them Cowboys? Nice to see you here. First time here. Well, welcome, Gamero. I'm sorry. I'm a name butcher. That's what I do. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't have my glasses on because the glare goes across here, and the screen is so far away, and I'm terrible at names. Yeah, I don't, James. I don't understand why we played literally 10 yards off of each of these players off the line of scrimmage on coverage. I would have liked to seen us a little bit tighter and man-to-man with them, but they gave them too much of a cushion, and they literally got picked apart. How you doing, Justin Brown? I am great tonight. Des Bryant, I hope you go off this week so you shut up all the haters. Go Cowboys. Moore is, yes, Demontre Moore is definitely back, which will help into that rotation, which is also going to kick Taco even further out of the rotation because we've got so many guys right now that are all basically doing pretty good that Taco's not seeing the field that much. And, he is a rookie. And I told you guys that to start with that. Problem with rookies, pass rushers, it really takes a year or two before you really start getting it under your legs. And right now, he's not getting that much playing time. I think he's had about 35 snaps between the 2 weeks. I think he's had 1 pressure and a half a tackle thus far. So he's getting kind of antsy. He wants to get out there. He's trying to stay positive. But, when you have DeMarcus Lawrence, who's been doing what he's been doing, you've got Tapper, who out there, who's actually, he's got a half a sack there as well and a couple of pressures. It's going to be hard for him to get on the field. Well, thank you very much, DT. I appreciate all the support and stuff. You guys make me want to be a better YouTuber, and I really enjoy talking about the Dallas Cowboys. We may end up having the moron Tom Donnelly coming in here tonight to talk about the New York Giant Eagle game. And the Eagles are feeling themselves right now because of that victory they've had thus far against the Redskins. But we'll see. Mark, don't read Spanish. That's true. I don't read Spanish, and sometimes I don't read English that well as well. The stew is cooking. Yeah, actually, I've got a video up for the Demontre Moore stew, and we may have to make some of that for Monday night. Weakness we can exploit on the Cardinals offense, Carson Palmer. Anthony, Carson Palmer is just not that good of a quarterback anymore. He is definitely past his prime. He can turn over the ball. He will make mistakes. And if we can put pressure on him without the running back, they're not that good a team offensively. However, if we show up like we did last week in Denver, anybody can beat us. So we've got to be able to run the ball, We got to get a pass rush, and we got to keep the defense off the field as much as possible. Yeah, boy. Here's the problem with Jason Garrett needs to go. He's not getting fired during the season. He was already coach of the year last year, and he's Jerry Jones's favorite. Although, I will say that I believe that things took a turn for Jerry Jones last week. It was kind of interesting the way Jerry Jones was up in the booth there as we're getting our ass kicked. And he's just shaking his head like, I can't believe that this shit is happening. I can't believe we're playing this bad. And you see Jason Garrett clapping, hey, it's okay, guys, and all that. The thing that bothered me more than anything else was Jason Garrett threw his players under the bus. Jason Garrett never accepts responsibility for anything. And I think whether you're responsible or not responsible, you need to take responsibility for it. You need to protect your players and their egos. You need to be the lightning rod. You need to be the guy that says, I'm in charge. It happened underneath me. I need to do better. You don't go out there and say, well, our quarterback couldn't, complete passes. He couldn't do this. Zeke Elliott's effort. No. Get mad and say, we sucked. I take responsibility for it. We're going to do better. We're going to get refocused. But don't put blame on somebody. When he did that, I was like, what the F? Thank you, Jace from Starkville, Mississippi. You don't do that to your players. You don't do that to your players. But that's Jason Garrett. I would like to see him have some emotion. I'd like to see him get mad about losing. I would like to see him put a foot in somebody's behind. Or when there's trouble, not be the first guy out the door. But Jason Garrett's what we got. At least until the end of the season, if not longer. So it is what it is. At least we don't have Ben McAdoo. That's a guy who's on the hot seat right now. And if the Giants don't beat the Eagles, that ship is going to crash. Get a new offensive coordinator, Thomas King. The problem with our offense is I think we've actually got a little bit arrogant. I think this game was actually going to end up being a good thing for our team because nobody really stopped. The Giants, we lost to, but we kind of stopped ourselves in those two games. I mean, when you look at how many passes we dropped in the first game and things. But you get to the point where you figure, we got this figured out. Nobody can stop our offense. And then you start reading the headlines. We got a healthy Des Bryant now. We got Ryan Switzer coming in there. We've got Lyle Collins, who's just like throwing JPP all over the place. And you start reading those headlines, and you start thinking, we ain't got to change anything. We're just that good. We can maul people at will. Well, as good as the New England Patriots have been, and it seems like they win their division every year, guess what? Every stinking week, they got a different wrinkle. You never know what to expect from a Bill Belichick. He is going to make sure you're off balance. You might see every defensive lineman standing up, or only two defensive linemen. But he's going to do something that's going to make you say, what the hell are they doing? How do I defend this? That's something we don't have on this team, is innovation. None. You get predictable. Aaron Rodgers figured it out, how to catch us with guys on the field subbing in and out. Denver figured us out, knew exactly where we were going. There weren't enough curveballs to stop them. Um, Mendoza, I agree. Jimmy Johnson definitely had balls. And see, Jimmy Johnson had emotions. Jimmy Johnson, the buck stopped with him. You knew if you screwed up, your ass would be shipped out of here. Do you think any players here fear that if Jason Garrett gets mad that he's going to get rid of him? No. Darren McFadden better on third downs. I'll be honest with you. The way our line blocked against Denver, and Denver was just on a mission, it wouldn't have mattered who we had. We could have had Jim Brown in his prime, and I don't think it would have made a difference. Zeke Elliott, as soon as he got the ball, was getting hit. You can't do that. Well, Joshua, here's the thing. Gruden may have been away from coaching for a long time, but he's still around football, and he has won a Super Bowl. And I can't say that Jason Garrett, being the head coach for how many years now, an offensive coordinator, seems like we're still stuck in a rut. We are still in the same place we've been. We're going to have a couple of great teams that fail as the number one seed. I am hoping that we don't end that season this way. You can't keep wasting these guys and a team over and over again. And the experiment with Jason Garrett, sorry, we waited too long. We got to see more than this man. We got to see a whole lot more than this man. Now, the players say they love him. People keep singing his praise, but I'll be honest. I can't point to a game and say, wow, we won that game because Jason Garrett outcoached them. And I asked you, show me one. Anthony Gilbert, I agree with you 150% that we need to shore up our secondary because it's young and it's been injured. And it's going to take some time for those young guys to get back on the field as well as to learn the system. Now, I was told I'm an idiot, and it's not the first time I've been told I'm an idiot, but sometimes you got to be bold. Sometimes you got to think a little bit outside the box. And I still think you make a move for Richard Sherman. That relationship there in Seattle has soured, regardless of the kumbaya moments that you have outside of it. The little snippets that you get, if you read between the lines, Richard Sherman still can't get over that Super Bowl loss. When he says stuff like, I know it's on the defense to win this, it's basically saying, you fucked up before. Excuse my language. You lost that game for us. You're coaching, your quarterback who threw it, the interception, and I got no faith in you. And he's going to be constantly needling at them. And for Seattle's at a point where they got to start reloading and rebuilding. They need draft picks. They need to unload some contracts. For them, it kind of makes sense to get rid of him. Richard Sherman already thought he was going to be traded to the Cowboys and would definitely like to. And I would like to see him there for his attitude and his knowledge and experience. I'm not saying that he's going to be here for 5 years because he doesn't have 5 years left in his career and stuff. But you get him for a good 2 or 3 years, you put him back there, instantly that defensive backfield with Byron Jones, he teaches Byron Jones to have a little bit of an edge and attitude with him. You put him there with Anthony Brown, you get Orlando Scandrick healthy. All of a sudden, that defensive backfield is a lot stronger with one guy. And that gives you time to get these rookies up to speed. It gives you time to let them heal up for a push towards the end of the season. To me, it makes perfect sense. Now, again, I'm a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll. I don't work for ESPN. I don't work for the Cowboys. I'm giving you what I think would happen. Will Taco show up? I think Taco will definitely show up, but it's one of those things that he's new to the NFL, and it takes time. Take a look at David Irving. We got him off of Kansas City's practice squad. You didn't know who David Irving was the first half of the season. But after practicing and being in the system, he started to come on more and more as the season went on and became a force towards the end. Well, Look at DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence was injured his rookie year. Until the playoffs when we played against the Lions, you really didn't know who DeMarcus Lawrence was until he had 2 big sacks on Matthew Stafford. And then took off the next year and kind of continued. So understand that it's hard for a rookie to come in as a pass rusher and make a huge impact. There's very few Reggie Whites that are out there that are getting drafted, or Aaron Donalds. Taco will be okay. Just give him some time. The other thing is he's not getting that many plays because you've got other players that are stepping up. DeMarcus Lawrence is eating up a lot of that. You want to sit DeMarcus Lawrence right now and play Taco? I don't. I'm happy with the way DeMarcus Lawrence, who is a man possessed right now, is playing. So he's got to work into there and earn that time, and I'm okay with that. Give the guy some time. Boomer. We're only talking about 2 games in so far. Byron Jones has been steady. He's been pretty good. Last year he had 88 tackles, but we beat the Giants, and then we went into a buzzsaw in Denver. And keep in mind, we haven't been beaten Denver in quite a while, so don't put it on this team just sucks and all the other ones are always great. We have not had a lot of success in Denver. I wouldn't trade Dez to save my life. Not right now, no. Jobu was beefing with Stephen A. Smith after that elbow. Yeah, well, Jobu has definitely got it in for Stephen A. Smith, and they definitely have it in for our Cowboys. And I was surprised because, I hate to admit this. God, I'm a closet First Take watcher. I do watch them. I'm addicted to it. Yeah, it's crap. I know. It's kind of like watching professional wrestling. It's not real. But I was surprised because today Max Kellerman actually said, the NFL may have rushed to judgment on Zeke Elliott and definitely got it wrong. And I literally about fell out because I believe that's the case. I still don't understand how the NFL is going after. If you feel that your case is so strong that we're in the right, it seemed to me like you could wait till the courts decide. But they are hell-bent on forcing him into being suspended right now. But it is what it is. Where's Cruzen? Well, Cruzen is gone. What's going to happen to Randy Gregory? Well, Randy Gregory basically is suspended for the whole year this year. The Cowboys keep him on the roster because it's not costing him a dime. And you're just holding his rights. If and when the NFL decides that, weed's not such a big deal, we're going to take it off the list. And when you start hearing some of the things that you hear, an interesting interview of Trent Williams, the tackle from the Washington Redskins, who was suspended last year because he couldn't stay off the weed. He said he used it recreationally because it helped him with headaches. And when you start realizing how many guys' brains are getting scrambled from concussions, and when you hear about a guy like Aaron Hernandez who, at his age, had CTE, is weed really that dangerous in comparison? Now, I'm not one that fires up myself, so don't get it twisted or anything. I'm not a weed smoker or anything. But is it any worse than some of the prescription drugs? Anthony, my night has been fantastic. I'm here talking with all you guys, so that's always great. And Benito Holmes, I don't know if you're a cousin of mine or a family member, but we're probably related somewhere in there. Weed is good for pain. And so when you think about the shape some of these guys are in Monday morning after playing a game, literally can't get out of bed or the pain and stuff, weed might be a better alternative than some of the other medications that they take. I know for me, I've got back problems and knee problems. And, I go to the doctor, they give me ibuprofen, 800 milligrams of a tablet. and they give me like 5 refills for them with 100 tablets on a whack. So you're basically taking them like chiclets. So is that better than smoking weed? I don't know. Gregory's a war dad. He just can't see off the weed. Well, AJ, that's yet to be seen. He's had a couple of decent games last year at the end of the season, but the jury's still out. And until either weed is legalized or he can stay off the weed, we'll never know. Lewis, 7-9, 7-9. Okay, so we got a hater alert. Don't get me wrong on Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett, I've met him. I've talked to him. He's a nice guy and everything, but nice guys doesn't mean that you can coach. Norv Turner, fantastic offensive coordinator, but as a head coach, not so good. Marty Schottenheimer, you couldn't tell me that guy couldn't coach. Marty Schottenheimer always had his teams playing like gangbuster, old style, smash mouth football, but couldn't win a playoff game. And sometimes it's just like that with guys. I can't tell you why. I look at the team we had last year. Home field advantage. Best running back in football. Best offensive line. A defense that was top 5 in scoring defense. Playing a wounded, beat down Green Bay Packer team at home, and we couldn't win the game. That doesn't make you question whether or not he can coach? Oh, okay. So Rayvon is actually back? Rayvon is probably on his deathbed right now because it's literally a do or die situation. And that's all good if he called me out. That's cool. Love the talk. Wondering who's my college team? JMU, actually. I played football at JMU, but I'm not much of a college football watcher. I'll be honest with you. Between my life and professional football, it doesn't give me enough time to be able to do college football or basketball or anything else. It's literally the NFL, and that's it. If I did any more than that, I might not still be married because my wife would be like, we're done. You spend too much time doing that. In fact, she thinks I spend too much time doing this as it is. Fire Garrett and get Gruden. If and when we do, I wouldn't have a problem with John Gruden for the simple fact of this. There's 2 types of coaches to me in my mind. You have coaches that are team builders, like a Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells or Jimmy Johnson are evaluators of talent and can build a team. They know that this guy is going to be the right guy for my system. And they build teams. Everywhere that Bill Parcells has gone and leaves, the teams are in better shape than when he got there. John Gruden is not a team builder. John Gruden is a guy who can take a team to another level. When you look at Tampa Bay, that was a team that was built by Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy got all that talent on that team. For whatever reason, just could not get them over the hump to win the Super Bowl. John Gruden gets there. He gets his attitude. Tony Dungy's more low-key. He's not going to cuss you out or anything like that. He's a tactician. He will tell you, this is what I expect you to do. And if you don't, you'll be gone. Chucky, on the other hand, is going to give you the look, the snarl. He's going to cuss at you. He's going to scream at you. He's going to let you know it's unacceptable what you did in that field. He's going to give you an attitude, something that was lacking with that team. And lo and behold, took Tampa Bay, a doormat of a team, and won a Super Bowl. The problem with John Gruden is he's not an evaluator of talent. When that team got old, he wasn't able to rebuild that team and keep that flowing through there. Well, here's the good thing for the Cowboys, why it is a good fit in my mind at least. Yes, he's been off for, a long time in the coaching booth and so on. It's been a long time since he won the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. I understand that. I get that. So he has some rust. But the team is already built. You have all the cornerstone pieces right now. You got an offensive line. You got a running back. You got a quarterback. You've got a good receiving core. You've got some good parts on the defense. Between Sean Lee, now you got Jalen Smith, who is the biggest surprise out there. You got a DeMarcus Lawrence, who right now is playing as good as anybody on the defensive line. You've got some decent defensive line players. And you've got a system there of evaluating talent that is getting good talent on the field. You can't tell me that another coach couldn't take the team we had last year to the Super Bowl. You can't. You can't tell me if Bill Parcells was coaching that team that it wouldn't go all the way. You can't tell me if Bill Belichick was coaching that team that it wouldn't have gone all the way. Come on now. There was too much talent in there. Matt, I am definitely going to try and be there at MetLife in December. Definitely. I'm definitely going to be at FedEx Field in October. I'm working on getting to at least one game in Dallas. I'm not sure which one that's going to be. Work has been getting in the way. In fact, I'm supposed to work on Monday night, believe it or not. But I'm trying to make sure, come hell or high water, I won't be there. But definitely going to be in New York to go ahead and slap those Giants. Although those Giants may be already packed it in by then. So that's why I think a John Gruden would fit us, because you've got the nucleus there. You've got a core of people that are able to get the talent. You don't need to be the GM to try and put the talent. We just need you to take the people that we've got you on the field and take another level. I'm more delusional than you. Okay, chlorine bleach. But aren't you the guy that said that the New York Giants are going to wipe our ass? Yeah, or excuse me, kick our ass. Well, I don't know where I got that. So you've got a lot of credit, a lot of credit there going. Okay. What about the signal caller? We need Dungy. I'd take Dungy over Jason Garrett anytime. Matt, definitely would love to tailgate with you. I tell you what, I wish I had a big pile of money, or not even a big pile of money, but the money that I make from here all goes right back into here. And I'm happy to do that because I enjoy doing it so much. If you watched me last year this time, you know how far this show has actually come and how much better the equipment is, although I still need to get that other computer that I'm working on because it's kind of slow a little bit there, but I need to get like a high-speed gaming system and all that. It's a couple of grand to really do what I want to do. But we're getting there bit by bit. And what I would love to be able to do is literally do the Jobu Mobile Man Cave, which is basically a tailgating SUV. Pop out there with some good old pork sliders, good old tacos, Jobu's wings, shots of rum, and literally just hang out with you guys, pre-game and just have a great time at the game and stuff. And I'm going to make that happen because when I want to do something, eventually I make it happen. My beautiful wife that's up there, I fell in love with her in college. Unfortunately, she was kind of like, yeah, Mark, you're my buddy, you're my friend. Not daunted. It took me, met 84, got together in 2003, almost 20 years, but I finally got her. So one of these days, guys, we are going to have that Jobu Mobile Man Cave. And we're going to be tailgating all over the place and having a great time with our Cowboys. Hopefully going to Super Bowls together to watch them. That is my dream. So let me get to some of your comments here. Blue Stars, I'm not sure that even if it's a losing record will make Gruden happen. I honestly believe if we go to the playoffs and have the exact same result that we had last year, that he's got to go. Because you get to the point where you've had two teams that have been best in football and you can't win a playoff game. That's not good. Yeah, Gruden definitely loved Dak Prescott from the time he met him. I agree. I saw that show on there. He was like, yeah, this kid is going to be special. Regardless of what everybody else said about Dak Prescott, he definitely believes in him. I'm like the movie Ted. Me and Joe Boo are like the movie Ted. Okay. Wow. Okay. I've been told I've done a lot of things, but that's a new one on me. Years of groundwork, Mark. Nice. Oh, yeah. Dude, it took a long, long time, but I finally wore it down. Des is like Jerry Rice. David, I won't go quite that far. 5 days till Arlington. Okay. How do I think Romo would do as as a defensive? I mean, a Dallas Cowboy. I think Romo just couldn't stay healthy anymore. I'm not sure I understand the question, Titan. How do I think Romo would do as a DC defensive coordinator or a Dallas Cowboy? Not sure what that is. Yeah, chlorine bleach. Yeah, I think you need to worry about your Giants. Who chlorine bleach? Have you noticed how Eli Manning goes down now without actually even being hit? That he literally just kind of dives. He's pulling Jason Campbell's like when he was at the Redskins because he knows that the offensive line is so bad that he's going to get the snot knocked out of him. He's not focused on getting the ball down the field anymore. He's worried about saving his ass. And the interesting thing is, everybody blames his offensive line. But chlorine bleach, do you know that his offensive line is actually giving him more time this year than he had last year? Huh. Maybe, just maybe, chlorine bleach, you might want to be on one of your channels talking up your Giants, trying to give them a pep talk. Just a thought. Just a thought. Marcelo, thank you for being here for 10 months. So you definitely know how the show has grown and how much better. Hopefully it's gotten better over the course of the last 10 months. Um, Tony Romo to be an offensive coordinator. Well, he definitely knows the offense. So some people, just because you're a great football player doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a great coach. But it doesn't mean that you doesn't. So it's one of those things that you have to go out and find out. Just because you know the plays doesn't mean you can motivate men. But it'd be interesting to see. Well, Derek, I agree. Derek Garrett, I like that. That's what I think the problem was with Denver. One, I think that Ron Leary gave him the playbook, but two, I think that they've gotten to the point where they figure we can just maul people. We don't have to change up and throw too many curveballs and stuff in there. And I'm hoping that this week that they're going to start looking back and saying, you know what, we need to do some more change up. We need to change what we're doing to keep people guessing more. Um, I think Zeke's definitely going to rush for 100 yards this week. I think the Cowboys are going to have 4 sacks this week. And I think we're going to have a good game. Now, keep in mind, this is an interesting stat. The Cowboys have not beat Arizona in the last 4 tries. It's been over 10 years since the last time we beat the Cardinals. So it's not going to be an easy game to say the least. Wade Walker, would I take Romo over Prescott if he had no injuries? No. Because here's the problem with Tony Romo. He may not have any injuries now, but one good hit, he's got an injury. That's the problem. And in football you can get old overnight. And I'm going to tell you, what you're looking at with Eli Manning is a quarterback that got old overnight. He's been steadily regressing, and I think that this year is going to be horrendous for Eli Manning. It's just the nature of the beast. When you start getting to your late 30s, it's just bad. I mean, it just doesn't get better. Um, Flowers is definitely a bust. The fact that that guy is still on the field is hilarious. Um, well, thank you, Cold Melt. I appreciate the kind words. Well, see, here's the thing, Donald Duck. I actually feel good about what our defensive line's been able to do. Um, right now, we're on pace for 40 sacks, and I told you that 40 sack plus margin is almost crucial to making the Super Bowl. If you can get over 40 sacks, that bodes really well and increases your odds of getting there. Now the question is, can they maintain that, or were we just fortunate to be paying Eli Manning, who's basically a turnover machine and diving through the ground? As we start playing some of the other teams like Aaron Rodgers and things like that, we'll see how it goes. But I feel good about the pass rush. Our problem has been is our secondary staying healthy, and that's what really worries me. So I think the coaching staff told Dak not to run in Denver. I don't think that's the case. Chlorine bleach. Well, boy, chlorine. You know what's amazing is how much you comment on a Dallas Cowboys. You comment more than any Cowboy fan out here. Anthony Garrett, I think the whole team is going to bounce back this week. You got to understand, Lyle Collins is playing one of the best, if not the best, defensive players in the NFL. And this is after playing JPP the week before. You know, he'll be okay. You know, we're not playing, fortunately, Calais Campbell is no longer with the Cardinals. They're a good defense, but they're not like Denver's defense. Um, Stop asking about Romo. Yeah, people just won't let Tony Romo go. I've moved on. Tony Romo, I was a big fan of his. I was happy he was here with the Cowboys. I wish he could have won a Super Bowl, but I agree with you. That ship has sailed, and there's no point in even thinking about it anymore. Um, Wonderfuzz, you are 100% right. You hit the nail on the head. The playbook is predictable, and that's where they need to do a little more than what they're doing right now. Real OG, OD, yeah, well, that's a good question. Um, Cooper Rush actually played. Well, I like Cooper Rush. I definitely like him more than Kellen Moore. Cooper Rush definitely stepped up, but now I'm not ready for him to have to be starting for games right now. Guy's still really, really young and doesn't have any real experience. So if you're thinking that he's going to be leading us to a Super Bowl, he is not ready for doing that. Well, I agree with you that the passes to Dez have been mostly jump offs. Part of the problem is Dez has not gotten a lot of separation from guys. Dez is, if you look at the statistics, and I wish I had them actually in front of me, he is tightly covered, and he's been playing against two of the best cornerbacks in the league. So the best opportunity to make those completions is when you've got shorter defensive backs is to do jump balls. So we'll see what the game plan is with it. To me, I think they've been trying to force too many balls to him, and that's been the biggest problem. The team didn't get to what they were doing last year, which was basically finding the open man as opposed to saying, we're going to get Dez, we're going to get Dez, we're going to get Dez. Because there are plays over there that you had Zeke that was open. You had plays there that Cole was open. But they kept trying to force it to Dez. And see, when you do that, I think it's kind of messing up your whole system because you start rolling the coverage toward Dez even more and really shutting him down. I think we can definitely win with the Cards against the Cardinals. If we can't, then we've got some real problems. Now, we do have some winnable games that are coming up right now before we get into the real meat of the schedule. But, we've got the Rams, we've got the 49ers in here, we've got the Cardinals, we've got the Redskins, and we've got Green Bay in the next 5 games. We win 4 of those, we're golden. We win 3 of those, we're still in pretty good shape. But, the road gets a little bit difficult as we start getting further and further down the road. So we want to take care of business right now, concentrate on the Cardinals, get that win, and move on to the Rams. James, I'm glad you agree with me because there's no way in the world that all these guys should be all covered on that offense. I mean, Jason Witten, Dak, has got to be able to hit him or Cole Beasley or Terrence Williams or Dez Bryant or Zeke Elliott. It's too many things to stop. But if you just go at one guy like they've been going with Dez, trying to force it to him, you're playing into the defense's hands. Benito Holmes, I'm hoping that you're right on that one because I think that would be the cure-all. And that's one of those old-time Jerry Jones moves that would definitely bring home a lot of publicity. And don't think it'll happen, but I got to tell you, it wouldn't be a bad move. Dallas Cowboy, I think I think everybody's kind of overreacted on one bad game. We've had quarterbacks that have had bad games. If you think back to the 2014 season, let's go back. The catch no catch this season. The last time we won the division before last year when we lost to Green Bay. But go back to the very first game of the season against the San Francisco 49ers. And we're not talking about the San Francisco 49ers that used to win Super Bowls. We're talking about a trash-ass San Francisco 49er team. Tony Romo threw 3 picks. Our team looked pathetic. We got our ass handed to us in that game. Pretty much kind of like we did against Denver, which is Denver at least is a really good team. That was what ushered in running the ball with DeMarco Murray and turned that team around. It was the impetus that said, you know what? Passing with Tony Romo every single play just is not working. We need to do something different. Let's run the ball till he really gets healthy. And that team went 12-4. I'm hoping and I'm praying that this game that we just had against Denver makes some guys wake up and say, you know what? We've been really predictable. We can't just outmuscle everybody every single week with the same plays. We need to do something a little bit different, or else we're going to continue to get our lunch handed to us. So hopefully, this is the moment and this is the game that turns it around for our team. Joshua, I can't believe it myself, how quick this hour always goes through. And this is without the moron Tom Donnelly. I was really wanted to have him on here tonight because I really wanted to talk to him about the Giants and Eagles game because that game is huge. Well, thank you, Frank. I appreciate the super chat. I'm glad you get don't get all your news from me. Verify it with others, to make sure that we're all kind of getting the same thing. Because that's the one thing I got to tell you guys. If you just rely on one source, you're only getting one point of view. You want to double check and make sure that you can get all of the information correct and make the right decision. But I appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. Well, hindsight's 2020, Adrian. You could always look back at the draft and say, we could have had Jerry Rice. Oh, we could have had this guy. Oh, we could have had that guy. Well, the fact of the matter is you didn't. Okay? So thinking about what we could have had, it's not worth it. It's just a waste of energy. Eagles get 5 sacks. I would love to see that. But that's... I'm kind of torn on that game, guys, because you could bury the Giants and they could be done. Or you could have the Giants and the Eagles both with only one win. It's kind of a tough call. I don't know that there's really a way that we lose in that game, but I just don't know which way I want it to go. So, I guess I'd like to see the Giants buried, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Well, thank you, Dallas girl. I appreciate that. I don't know about being the best. I try hard to get that way, but I appreciate it. Dallas Cowboy, I would like to see Des fired up some too, and definitely getting some people saying, I want to see the whole team fired up, from the coaching staff on down.
You mentioned the Chargers.
I did briefly mention the Chargers, but, we're worried about our Dallas Cowboys right now.
Who cares? We're going to beat them anyway.
On any given Sunday. That's my...
It's going to be a Thursday. Any given Thursday.
Okay. That was my son, Michael, diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, who just got back in, who wanted me to remind you guys about the Chargers. We'll talk about the Chargers another time. Chargers eventually are going to be going back to San Diego. You can best believe that. If Romo was a quarterback and we lost like we did, there wouldn't be any talk of being a game manager. Okay. Am I going to live stream? Sorrell, I'll be live streaming pregame on Monday night, and then I will live stream halftime, and I'll do a post game live stream. So I hope you guys all tune in. And as always, wow, it is already 10 o'clock. It has been an hour already. The time always flies with you guys. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, watching the JB Sports Report. Thank you guys for all the support on all the videos and things like that. We are trying to grow and do great things with our Dallas Cowboys, and hopefully, cheer them on all season, all the way to the Super Bowl. We'll have to wait and see if that happens, but I'm hoping.